happy to give you a little update on what is happening today and the progress we're making. Obviously, Council President Pro Tem Sandoval and I have been working very hard on this effort together for the last month or so. What we have been working on directly with this group is moving folks directly into housing. We've had a lot of success with that. Of the folks that are here, we've had more than 386 of them who have now completed applications for housing. We have more than 95 who've already moved directly into leased units, and so that as a strategy has been very successful. What we're finding from our own outreach workers as well as from the neighborhood is it is much harder for us to provide services and keep people safe in this outdoor setting than it is in an indoor congregate site. So what we are doing is we are moving all of the folks from this encampment today to one of three locations. Some of them are moving directly into housing today. You see a family behind us and others that are right now packing up their stuff and moving into leased units. Other folks are moving to two separate congregate sites around the city where we will have indoor housing with staffing and support to help them continue this work for housing navigation. Again, 386 of those folks have already submitted applications for housing. Many of them have units that are coming up in the next week or 2 weeks, and so for some people that's a short-term transition from here to there, but we think that offers the safest opportunity for us to support them and support the services they need and support the neighborhood. And so that's why we're excited to bring everybody indoors today. And I will say, we've talked publicly about the House 1,000 effort. We have been separate from that effort. There's an incredible team out here, including Danielle Giordani and Riley and Lana Dalton, who have been working on housing these individuals. We've now housed almost 400 individuals from street homelessness who are migrants directly into housing, completely separate from our House 1,000 effort. And so we've not counted them in that effort, but this effort has been moving aggressively and successfully. For us to deliver services more effectively, we need to have people inside in a place where we can serve them and help keep in regular touch with them. So that's what is happening today. Happy to answer questions that people have if they have them for me or for Council President Pro Tem.
Everybody takes money. You told City Council yesterday that it could be $180 million spent on the migrant crisis this year. Is this sustainable?
This is not sustainable. This is not sustainable, and for a couple of reasons. You know, I've been talking to the federal government about the three challenges we have. One is folks here need work authorization. Council President Pro Tem and I just had 47 conversations, and every one of them is exactly the same. Mr. Mayor, how can I find a job? I just need a job. That's the single most important thing. The second is we do need resources federally to support this effort, but Mark, the key is what I'm trying to help people understand is those things are in direct relationship. If every one of these individuals arrived in Denver with a work authorization the day they got here, we would need almost no federal support. They'd be up and supporting themselves quickly. If they arrive and are here for 3 months or 6 months or 2 years and can never work, we're going to need endless amounts of federal support for those individuals. And not only do they not want that, we don't want that. They just want to support themselves. So it's contrary to the American spirit. It's contrary to why they walked 3,000 miles to get here, and it's not good for the fiscal health of the city. So we need work authorization, we need federal support, and the last thing we need is a coordinated entry system. Right now, Denver is the single largest recipient of migrants per capita of any city in America. We have 2.5 times more migrants than just the next city per capita, and that is not because of any strategy. It's because we are the first and cheapest bus ticket north of El Paso from Texas, and so it's the easiest place for folks to send people if they're looking for the next city. That is not a strategy to succeed. We know this country has been very successful at this in the past. You look at how we resettled Ukrainian refugees or refugees from Afghanistan. They came with federal support, they came with work authorization, a coordinated entry plan, and they were very successful. They didn't just let the governor of New York decide where to send every Ukrainian refugee because they landed at JFK. They actually had a coordinated plan for entry. So what we need is work authorization, coordinated entry, and we need federal dollars. With those three, we can be successful. Without it, this will be a very hard problem to solve.
Mr. Mayor, do you feel the federal government wants to help?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've talked to the White House directly. They have been very supportive. I mean, I can tell you we had a meeting 4 or 5 months ago, Governor Polis and I with Secretary Mayorkas, and at that point we had the same conversation about work authorization. They responded almost 2 weeks after, and they added temporary protective status for Venezuelans that arrived before July 31st. And so in all of August and September, most of the folks that arrived in our shelters could work through that work authorization. What you see in the last 2 months is every one of these folks who have arrived after that temporary protective status is in effect. So none of these folks have a path to work authorization, which is why they'll end up without jobs or without places to live. So I think the federal government gets that. The Biden administration has been pushing for this. In their supplemental budget, they included dollars for cities like this. They included dollars for more administrative capacity at the border. So these asylum claims should be resolved in 30 or 90 days. Right now, you'll talk to folks today who have asylum court dates set for the year 2029. That is a 6-year wait for an asylum claim. You can't have someone here waiting 6 years for an asylum claim without work authorization in the process. So I think the White House agrees with this. They're pushing to support it. We have to get Congress to come through and pass the resources and the work authorization that we need to make it possible.
When you talk about
I see. Dime otra vez. A un otro sitio hoy. So hoy tenemos. ¿Quieres que decir? Yeah. I'm just going to do the quick version in Spanish. Hoy es un día importante porque tenemos esos 300 personas que estaban viviendo aquí afuera en la calle y sabemos que no es un sitio seguro por ellos o por el barrio los dos. Entonces, hoy movimos toda la gente que están afuera al dentro a esos 3 sitios. Algunos van por casas en este momento, otros van a 2 sitios que tenemos que son congregate shelters donde pueden quedar al dentro, pueden ser seguros y podemos ayudarles con más aplicaciones por casas. En este momento todavía tenemos casi 400 personas que han aplicado por casas y un 100 que todavía han movido. Entonces, si podemos moverles al dentro, podemos ayudarles más rápido para obtener casas.
when you talk about coordinating efforts, is the city at any point considering any executive orders similar to what New York or Chicago have, keeping buses from just dropping people off wherever?
We've been partnering with the sending cities around the bus arrivals, and we've had more success coordinating with them where to arrive and when to arrive. So that is not right now our biggest challenge. What we are focusing on right now is talking to mayors from other cities about their willingness to collaborate with us on a coordinated entry system. If there's not going to be a federal system, we will work directly on trying to create one with a partnership of cities, because our belief is if there are 200,000 migrants right now arriving in just 3 cities around the country, if we have all 100 of the biggest cities in America say we'll just take our pro rata share of those individuals, it's much more manageable for cities. I would say the incredible team from Host who's managed this for the last year, what's amazing is this city has welcomed 35,000 migrants over the last year, and it's a huge crisis that we have 300 that are unhoused here. It is also a remarkable success that 34,700 of those, about 99% of those folks have arrived, have gotten connected to housing, have gotten connected to work, and have successfully integrated into the city. That's a remarkable feat for Denver, but going forward, the volume is getting more and more difficult for us to handle, so we need to have other cities that can partner with us.
Mayor, this is a highly visible encampment. Are you worried at all that people will become resentful? Despite the fact that you have all the success housing people, this is a very obvious encampment. Are you worried that people will be resentful and turn against these folks and perhaps the ballot box?
Oh, if people have to stay outside?
If the voters of Denver see these encampments, they might say, geez, why are these folks here? Someone should do something. I'm angry about
Yeah.
this.
I think we have people that are angry right now and that are frustrated right now. Council President Pro Tem can speak to that. And we understand that's fair. You know, there was a fire here this morning. We know there's a public safety risk for neighbors, and that's a fair expectation that everyone should be safe in their neighborhoods. We know this wasn't safe for the folks living in the encampment. It wasn't safe for the surrounding neighborhoods. So we think that's our obligation. Council President Pro Tem has really led the effort to support these encampments in the short term, but really push for the fact that we can't have this be a permanent solution. So that's why we won't have this encampment return after. We know we have the challenge of folks who exit this hotel and need to get access to housing. We're trying to go farther upstream to get them housing faster, earlier, so they don't end up in encampments along the way, but we don't want people to be outdoors. Do you want to speak to this?
And to your point about the votes, we're not the only electeds here. And I keep telling all my constituents that. I am not your only elected. I am your council district elected, yes. Born and raised in the north side, yes. But we need to call Congresswoman DeGette. We need to call all of our other electeds, because one person has several different electeds. So yes, I do hope that they vote at the ballot box. I do hope that they represent and say we need help in Denver. The city cannot carry this burden alone. We cannot. We need other jurisdictions and other electeds to step in as well. We've been doing the best we can.
Hemos recibido muchísimos buses en los últimos meses. Hemos recibido muchísimos buses en los últimos meses. ¿Se recibirán más y será el mismo proceso o directamente irán al shelter?
Cuando llegan, van aquí o van a otros sitios.
¿O van a llegar directamente a los shelters o van a hacer el mismo proceso?
Um,
¿Van a hacer carpas y luego los van a ubicar o cómo va a ser el siguiente
Ya.
proceso?
Él ha preguntado que hemos recibido muchos buses en el mes que pasado. Tienes razón. más que 130 buses en el mes de diciembre solo. Y en este momento estamos trabajando con ellos cuando envían un bus para arreglar dónde llegan, cuándo llegan y cómo podemos ayudar a la gente, porque antes llegaron 2 en la mañana con familias en la calle que tienen frío, y en este momento trabajamos con ellos juntos para que lleguen en la ciudad durante el día o a uno de los hotel shelters para que es más fácil. So eso,
La pregunta es porque muchas personas que viven en los alrededores de estas tiendas de campaña ya no quieren que las personas se abarroten en las diferentes veredas, sino que podrían llegar ya directamente a shelters.
ya, a veces llegan directamente a uno de los shelters o a los otros sitios, pero es difícil cuando tienes 6-7 buses cada día con 200-300 personas. Es difícil para ayudar todos y mover todos, pero lo hacemos en varios sitios. No voy a decir todos porque podemos proteger la seguridad de la gente que llegan, pero tenemos varios sitios donde llegan y en este momento funciona mucho mejor que fue antes. Gracias. Yes.
What would you say to folks in North and West Denver who've shown welcome and care over the
Yeah.
last couple of months, volunteering for unions,
Yeah.
things of that nature? What would you say to them about the future of their neighbors here who are now
Yeah.
moving on somewhere else and they won't
Yeah.
interact?
Thank you for that question. I mean, this has also been an incredibly moving testament to the generosity of Denverites, which is the neighbors in this neighborhood have come forth at every single stage with food, with clothing, with support, with help to housing. People have stood up nonprofits on their own to provide housing and support. And so we are deeply grateful for their generosity and for their spirit and their support. The Council President Pro Tem and I meet with those leaders pretty regularly, and they are helping co-design some of the solutions we're working on now. And so we welcome them to continue that support in our new locations. Particularly, I'll tell you, I thank you for this question. What we're doing, the most urgent need we have is for housing navigation. So we really need Spanish speakers who can help people fill out housing applications. We also need lawyers. We need pro bono lawyers who can come help people on either work authorization applications or on court dates. And so we'll be standing up in each of these sites both housing navigation support and legal clinic support. And so our most important need is for us to continue to channel the generosity of those people who are engaged to get more engaged in that. And Jordan, you're going to tell me where I should tell them to contact us about that.
Yes, actually, John will tell you where to contact about for volunteers, lawyers.
Where should people that want to volunteer on housing navigation or on legal clinics, do we have a point of contact or a person they should reach out to?
We could certainly get one, and I think everyone in the media knows my number, and we can certainly.
Great,
direct
John's your man. Thank you so much. I think we have time for one more question. Sí.
Me ha tocado entrevistar bastante inmigrante el día de hoy. Me ha tocado entrevistar bastante inmigrante el día de hoy. Todos ellos se encuentran molestos porque dicen que médicamente los van a mover a un lugar y que posteriormente van a terminar igualmente en la calle. ¿No hay un plan B donde ellos
Sure. Lo que vamos a hacer, hay un plan A, un plan B, un plan C, un plan D en este momento, pero lo que empezamos hoy es que este sitio no es seguro. No es seguro por la gente que vive aquí, no es seguro por la gente en los barrios. Tenemos más y más problemas que han empezado aquí. Entonces no queremos que gente, y ya tenemos más tiempo frío que van a llegar esta semana, no queremos que gente quede afuera. So, lo más importante primeramente es para moverles de la calle a un sitio al dentro y para ayudarles a aplicar por casas, que es un sitio permanente, porque lo que queremos es que gente llegue en casas permanentes. Lo que estamos haciendo con mucha gente es que lo ponemos en grupos juntos, que 3-4 personas. Es posible que 1 o 2 personas que tienen trabajo, los otros 2 no tienen. Pero si podemos tenerles aplicar juntos, ya es más fácil que puedan obtener un apartamento cuando las otras 2 personas ya todavía buscan trabajo. Entonces, ha tenido mucho éxito con esta estrategia y vamos a hacer más y más. La mayoría de la gente que mueven hoy todavía ya han aplicado por apartamentos y solo quedan 1 semana, 2 semanas hasta que muevan, pero no queremos que queden afuera en este momento. Pero también quiero decir que es posible que vamos a tener gente que llegan. Tenemos 4,500 personas cada noche en hoteles en Denver y cada día llegan 300 más personas. Y ya somos llenos de hoteles aquí en Denver y no tenemos otros sitios que quieren recibir gente. Entonces van a llegar un momento cuando no podemos quedar gente más días y tenemos que trabajarles para obtener trabajo a sí mismo, pero no podemos hacer por siempre. I should translate that to English quickly.
¿Qué mensaje le da al gobernador de Texas? ¿Tiene algún mensaje para el gobernador?
El mensaje que doy al gobernador de Texas es que queremos trabajar juntos. Hay un problema aquí que podemos trabajar juntos. Yo sé que Texas no pueden tomar toda la gente y Colorado ni pueden pueden aceptar toda la gente, pero hay una mejor manera para trabajar. Yo te he llamado alguna vez, voy a hacerlo otra vez, pero queremos hablar y queremos resolver ese problema juntos. All right, thank you all so much. Great to see you.